So what we want to do next is we want to open up, we have our map and we want to save this map, and you can name it whatever you want. You might already have a map in here. This is just, it was like a kind of include starter content, but it's only 222 kilobytes and it has like all the basic things you need for map, but we won't use that. Bound me in the map, DE, rats, hamster. So the naming convention of pretty much all Valve games is you have the initials of the game mode, and then like whatever you want after that. So DE stands for defusal. CS stands for hostage, so that kind of breaks the rule. But DE is defusal. Rats is like the genre of the map that I'm kind of going for. Then hamster is like my name. And you could put other stuff after the underscore, like beta 1, release candidate 1, but yeah, I'm not doing that. So now we have the map saved, and you can see that up there. So even though this view looks quite good, and you might want to work in it, you can actually do all your work inside your 3D view right here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go over here and select the block brush. I'm going to push Shift Z to go into this view. In the very bottom right, you can see the grid size. You don't want to go to a really small grid size because that's kind of stupid. But you can use the square brackets on your keyboard to make it finer or less fine. So every unit in Hammer is 1 inch. So this is like all 120 inches. I'm just going to click and drag. And this is just a temporary thing. I got that right there. I'm going to drag that up. And then I'm going to push F to flip the normals. That way I can be inside of the object. And by the way, I'm in object selection mode. I'm just going to click off in the distance. So there's that. But obviously, I don't know how this looks compared to the player. So I'm going to go here to the entity tool list. I'm going to click player start. And I'm going to place down a player start. So info player start. It's just a representation of the player. So the player is 72 units tall and the camera's at like 64. And I'm going to push R to rotate them. Now right down here, you can change the rotation angle. I'm just going to do 45 for right now. So here's what the player would see. And scale-wise, I'm going to leave and going based off my blockout that I did. Kind of see how this looks. I'm going to push T to go into transform mode. So you can see our player is right there. And he is quite small compared to the rest of the map. He's like that size. So I think my map is somewhat too big. Or I think I'll keep it like this. So now that I have this, you can go up here and you can switch to the different lighting modes. There's all lighting. And if I, not select it, not really see anything. But you pretty much always want to use GPU path tracing. Doing that will show you what your final map looks like. Now, right now, we have no light. And that's because we have not placed a environment light. This can be placed anywhere in your map. Click it down. All that matters is the direction that the environment light is facing. So, there's that right there. But we can't see anything. So this might be different for a lot of you guys. The way that maps work in Hammer and Hammer Source 2 is everything is contained in rooms. Unlike Unity, where you can just have your basic square environment, floating in space or whatever, you can't do that in Hammer. Out here is the void. You don't want that stuff. You don't want any void leaks, which basically you don't have any empty like holes in your map. Hammer's pretty much all rooms. So, Hammer by default has backface block lights, even though we can see inside this room. due to the back faces and the flip normals. The lights can't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Shift Z and go back here to my content, my asset browser. And once again, you can put this on a different map or a different monitor if you want. I'm going to zoom all the way. I'm just going to search for the skybox material. Oh yeah, Steam achievements show up. And we're going to scroll through until we find the big blue skybox material that says skybox. Got that right here. So now I have that in my bottom left window. I'm going to do Shift Z. Then I'm going to do Shift T. Shift T assigns that material to the face that you have selected. And you can do Shift right click to get the current material. So what I'm actually going to do is, you can also do this to open up the browser. So I'm going to search up the dev textures. And I'm going to find the gray dev texture and put that just on all my walls. And then I'm going to find the gray dev texture and place that on the floor. And I am going to select all these faces. And it should do it by default, but it automatically opens up the texture, like UV editing. And if you click align the grid, thankfully nothing happened. But if your texture was somehow warped weirdly due to weird UV, this will make it align to the grid. So every dash on here is 8 hammer units, or 8 inches. So I got my absolutely massive map, and I decided, after thinking about my sketch, that my sketch was way too vertical. So I think this is going to be some of a good height. I want to go in a T, and I'm going to have this my grid be 128. And I think this is a good like max height for the map. I might make it a little bit bigger. I can always change the height later. But we have that, and because we placed that skybox material, if I go into GPU path tracing, you can see what the map would look like. And the video probably lost so much quality because it's path tracing it, and there's a lot of little circles. But here's what it would look like in terms of player scale. I fly in there. You can use the scroll wheel to change your move speed. So I think this is kind of a good size for a somewhat bigger and goofier map. So I'm just going to turn off the path tracing because I don't really need that. And a big difference about the Hammer editor compared to other editors such as Unity and Unreal, Unity's Pro Builder, and Unreal's modeling tools. Well, the modeling tools are close to Hammer, but Cube Grid is, Valve does things a lot more differently than what traditional game developers do. So believe it or not, the people who are going to be the best at the Hammer editor, coming with no prior knowledge of this editor, are people who use 3D modeling tools such as Blender and Maya. Because a big thing about Hammer is, unlike in other engines like Pro Builder and Unreal, when you're doing your blockouts and you're doing the stuff, when you're done, you're just going to delete your blockout stair model, and you're going to place in your artist made one and stuff like that. But a big advantage of Hammer is you can do everything in the editor. Like you can create all of your environments, all your final art assets can all be made within the Hammer editor. Now you can import your own assets, but I don't know how to do that. And it's quite a complicated process. And hopefully I remember to throw up some images on screen of what people would do, what people have made with the Hammer editor. So I kind of got this area, and I'm just going to say that this is like the CT spawn And I'm still going to keep the idea of the terrorists needing to get somewhere within the map. And I'm going to be scrapping my whole spiral staircase idea around the perimeter. I think around over here, I'm going to have what the food pile is. I'm still going to have the second floor, but it's going to be entirely different. Many serve as like getting different advantage points. And oh yeah, hammer autosaves, which is a nice thing. So I'm just gonna make a spawn area, and for me to do that, I'm gonna click and drag out a wall. I'm gonna decrease my grid size to 64, and this would be where I go into the top-down view. So you know what? I am going to first select my player. Should be in object mode. I'm going to select my player, push T, and let's just move him somewhere else. So that the counter-terrorists are kind of spawning in a bunker. And I'm going to quickly select my orange texture by doing a shift right click on the surface that has it. So now I'm going to have my cube. I'm just going to click and drag. There's that, and then I could go from the side view and bring it up, but I'm just going to open it up from here. Let's drag that up. And a big thing about there's a lot of things at the terms of like player scale, making sure the doorways are right. Now that seems too tall, so let me bring this down a little bit. Then you know what? Let me decrease to 32. Bring that up. It seems like a good height. And the reason why I'm not doing flipped normals here is because I'm going to be carving a hole out of this mesh. So now let me place a top. So let me delete that accident. Go back to the block brush. And I have it clipping out of the wall, but you can always, crap. You can always get started. Later drag it along. Cover up that ceiling. I'm actually going to have it, I'm going to have this come up a little bit. So I'm just going to go to like face mode, transform, bring that up. So now we have this little area that the player can't get out of. Actually, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to bring this back down and bring this back over. Select the right face doing so. So there's multiple different ways for you to make doors. You can do Shift X and do keep. You can click and drag and make your slice. And it would be whenever faces you have selected. But I don't think you can make a door that way. Let me cancel that. But I am going to select the entire object. I'm going to select these two faces here, just so they are in sync. And I'm going to scroll down to the quad slice tool. And I'm thinking that this room should be, before I do that, I'm actually going to make this room smaller than what it was before. Because I just realized how big it was. And don't tell me it just sliced all that. Because right now having this be really wide kind of seems distracting. So I'm just going to select the entire object. Push E for scaling. I'm just going to scale it in. And I'm actually going to increase my grid size. And this seems to be a good size for the players to spawn in. And because I made that smaller, I'm going to go ahead and shrink this face a little bit. Because I got the top as 32, and this is currently 64. So let's make that 32. That's 32. Go back. 32 wide. Now see, this is the case where I'm kind of off the grid. Which is not the best. But I mean, like, you know, I'm just gonna bring these out so that they are on the grid. Because I like to have everything lined up. And we are going to bring this up. There we go. I'm going to do save. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Drag that over. Now I got this hidden room. So now going back to the faces, I'm going to select the face. Realize that I probably should have made this the entire wall. And the reason why I'm so particular about doing this is I'd rather put in the time and effort now of making sure that this is all set up than absolutely preparing myself. I'd rather set myself up for success. So let's drag that, drag that. Now I have the face. I'm gonna go back down here to slicing. And I think having two entrances would be a good idea. So I'm going to slice it. And the basic idea is I'm going to grab these lines that come in. I'm going to shape them in such a way that they are like a door. So, like that would be a door. And let me do one more horizontal slice. So that will be a door, and that will be a door. And let me make sure I got both faces selected. That way, it's easier for me to cut through the thing. So now I'm going to go to edge selecting. Or first thing I'm going to do is click back on my faces and actually apply that. So I believe I had 4. Yep. On both faces are selected. I'm going to click slice. So now I have those edges. I'm going to go through and I'm going to grab these edges. I'm going to do T. I'm going to transform them. And I'm going to select the entire edge ring just by double clicking. And then this side, I'm going to shift and double click. So I have the entire edge ring. Now, normally, if you're using the backface culling method that I'm doing here, you wouldn't have to do, selecting both sides. You would just do it on one wall and cut into it, which I'll be doing later when I do the pipes. I'm just going to drag it up, and this seems like a good height. And now I'm just going to do the same for these two, or these four. So I think the first door, in terms of spacing, I think these doors are fine. I mean, that's why I subdivided it. And one thing you can do, if you don't like these extra faces here, is you can select them both and do backspace, which will dissolve the edges within them. But I'm not going to do that. So now it's time to select these two faces. Push delete to delete them. And now I got a weird looking mesh here. And the dashed lines mean that they are like open edges, but I'm going to select them both. I'm going to do B to bridge them. These edges down here I'm actually going to delete. I don't think I don't need those on the floor because my floor already does that. So I'm going to select these two. I'm going to B, and there's that one. Then let me select this face right here. Select that face, delete, get the edges, B, B, B. Same for wherever those random guys. Oh, I deleted all of them. Now we do have these open edges right here. That's because those invisible vertices things I got rid of. But I'm okay with that. So now I have this room, and with this room, if I go into the path tracing preview, you can see that it is very dark in here. There's wireframe. And so I want to add in some lights. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to select Omni Light, place that down, go to Object, select it, drag it up. So this is a Omni 2 light, which is a new light for Hammer Source 2. You see all those little gizmos with it. And you can edit these. You can change the shape of them and everything. So I'm going to go here to the select. That way I can get these little gizmos that pop up. So is that one right there. This blue one is the outer angle. So I probably should drag that one down first. Or have that be the outer angle. And how about that be the inner angle? Now it doesn't need to go that far. So I'm just going to drag it all in. I don't even know I don't even know what that's doing. Yeah, I don't know what that's doing. So now I have this light right here, and we can go into GPU path tracing. Select that light. Drag it down. And it looks like I absolutely screwed something up, because lights don't look like that. But there we go. We kind of got a light right there. And obviously, it is very bright. So I don't really know what that does. And now I have this right here. I can change the brightness. Be really bright, really dim. Oh, that's the fall off. Okay. We make the light 0.75. You know what? I think that's good for an interior. Now, obviously, I need to place another one. So it's gonna go to the top-down view. I'm in, the move. I'm gonna do Shift and drag one over. And now I got a light here. And I think, even though it's kind of overkill, I'm gonna put one right in the middle. So now I have that. Now this would kind of be a spot. Obviously, I'm recording, but going all lighting. You can kind of tell the lights are there. So I'm going to save. Go back to future path tracing. This looks good to me. Seems to be some weird lighting on those right there. Don't know, don't care. And while I'm at it, the sky is bright white. So I am going to place a skybox. And I'm also just going to go over here, and just so it's easy for me to have them all in one spot, I'm going to go here. And let me select the skybox material. Right now it seems to just be all white though. I'm going to place down my skybox. And let's search for a skybox here. This sky looks pretty good. And yeah, there's that part.